Hello everyone, bonjour tout le monde. Welcome on Polyglot French channel. Bienvenue sur la chaîne de Polyglotte en français. Je m'appelle Johanna et je serai votre professeur pour aujourd'hui. My name is Johanna and I will be your teacher for today. Now, if you don't already know, I will make live every Wednesday on 9 a.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Central European time, and 12 a.m. on China Standard Time. So last Wednesday we had our first lesson, so that will be our second lesson. And yeah, you can watch the first lesson we had last week on the Polyglot French channel. So yeah, that will be good if you could subscribe to the channel or um, follow Polyglot French on Instagram. If you like the content I make, you can also join polyglot.com /French. You can go to johnpolyglot.com /French, where you can find a lot of resources in French, like podcasts, books, French courses. You can have the link in the description. And yeah, that will also help you improve or learn your French. You have a lot of resources to provide you French immersion. Okay, so today class is called enchanté. Enchanté is when you meet someone new and you introduce yourself. You say hi, you introduce yourself, and then you say enchanté to show the person that you're glad to see him. It's the equivalent of that. Nice to meet you or glad to see you. Okay, so we're gonna see what to do or what not to do in a situation when you meet someone for the first time. In different situation, when you meet someone, a new friend, let's say, in a more informal context, and when you meet someone in a more formal context, like at work or for an interview, a job interview. So you may um, ask yourself what to do when you meet a French people for the first time. What do you say? If you follow last week lesson, we learned how to say hello, how to salute someone. So, what could you say if you meet someone for the first time? You're gonna say salut, which is a more casual way to say uh, hello or bonjour. So, you're in a casual context, you see maybe a friend of a friend, you can say salut. Okay, but then next, how do you introduce yourself? If the friend asks you, comment tu t'appelles? What can you answer back? Well, that's what we're gonna see today. You can answer, je m'appelle Kevin. Okay? Je m'appelle Kevin is like my name is Kevin or I'm Kevin. It's the most usual way to say I'm Kevin or my name is Kevin. Je m'appelle Kevin. Okay? Now, if you notice something in the way I'm speaking, my intonation, when I'm asking a question, my voice go up a little bit at the end. Comment tu t'appelles? Okay. But when I answer back, it's the opposite. It tends to go down. Je m'appelle Kevin. Okay? So, for a question, you go up with your voice. Comment tu t'appelles? For an answer, you go down. Je m'appelle Kevin. Okay? Okay, so now you know how to say my name is. Okay? If you want to ask the question back, you will say, Et toi? Again, my voice at the end of the sentence is going a little bit higher. Et toi? Meaning, and you? Je m'appelle John. Okay? So, you now know how to say Je m'appelle. My name is. That's the first thing you will say. Maybe if you go to France and you have to introduce yourself in any context. Now, people can ask you, what's your name? Or a more usual way in a very casual context to introduce yourself and ask the other to implicitly to introduce himself will be, let's say you're with friends, um, you you do la bise, the little air kiss. You can say salut, Kevin, enchanté. That means hi, I'm Kevin. Nice to meet you. Okay. So you don't need to ask comment tu t'appelles, what's your name, because it's implicit that the other person will answer back. Let's say John, enchanté. Okay. So that's the most, I will say, popular way to introduce yourself when you're in a more private or more um, informal context. Because you don't usually ask, what's your name? Je m'appelle. It can happen, but it's a more cordial and popular way to introduce yourself. You do it yourself, and then the other person will introduce themselves. So that's for the name part. Donc, je m'appelle. Okay. Now, if the person wants to know a little bit more about you, salut Benjamin, good, très bien. Si l'autre personne, if the other person wants to know a bit more about you, they will ask you, quelle est ta nationalité? Ou tu viens d'où? Again, with the voice raising a bit at the end. Quelle est ta nationalité? Means, what's your nationality? Tu viens d'où? Mean, what do you come from? So they want to know what's your nationality, where you're born, meaning what in what country are you from? So you can answer Je suis italien. Et toi? Je suis français. Okay? Je suis mean I am. C'est le verbe être. The verb to be. Okay? So with nationality, we use the verb to be. Okay? Être. Je suis italien. Et toi? Je suis français. So I am Italian. What about you? I am French. Okay. Let's see now a bit of some example of nationality. Hoping your country might be in the list, but it's gonna be let's say a discover. I'm not gonna do a full class about nationality. That will come later, but just to see a bit how it works and to see a bit of the basic. So if you notice there is different flags for different country, maybe you recognize some of them. Let's see. This one, La France. Okay. This one, do you know what it is? It's l'Italie, Italia. This one, it's an Asian country. It's le Japon, Japan. Now this one is an American country. If you recognize that flag, it's le Mexique, Mexico. The next one is an African, a North African country. It's le Maroc, Morocco. And the next one is les États-Unis, the United States of America. Okay? So, this is some example. Now let's see what are the nationality of those countries. In France, in French, we have for adjective, and nationalities are adjective. We have a distinction between masculine and feminine. Okay. So, for France, pour la France, je peux dire je suis français. I am French, but masculine. Or je suis française. Okay. I am French, but feminine. So me, I will say je m'appelle Joanna et je suis française. Okay. Same for the other country. Je suis italien. Okay. As you can tell, the en is sounds like un. It's one of those nasal vocal that are typical of French. Italien. Okay. Or je suis italienne. I'm Italian, but I'm a girl. Okay. Je suis japonais ou je suis japonaise. Okay. Je suis mexicain. Again, that's a vocal that are nasal vocal that are typical of French. Je suis mexicain ou je suis mexicaine. Now, if you notice, in every time I pronounce the feminine version, you can hear the consonant, okay, the final consonant. When in the masculine version, you don't. You hear a vocal, okay. Mexicain, okay. Un is a vocal. Mexicaine, you hear the final n, which is a consonantic, okay? It's the same for every nationalities. Je suis marocain, okay? Un is a vocal, or je suis marocaine. Je suis américain ou je suis américaine, okay? So, you have maybe a little sample of nationalities. I hope yours is in the list. But it was just to show you a bit of how to introduce, okay, yourself and talk about your nationality, because that will be the most basic information you will give someone. Now you learn how to say je m'appelle or and je suis plus your nationalities. Now the other person wants to know a bit more and ask quelle est ta profession, or tu fais quoi dans la vie, meaning what's your profession, or what do you do in life basically, okay. Tu fais quoi dans la vie is more, again, it's more a casual usual way to say to ask that question. Again, you will respond with je suis journaliste. Et toi? I am a journalist. And you? Moi aussi. That means me too. Okay. So same for nationality. With jobs, you also use the verb to be, le verbe être. Je suis journaliste. Maybe again, I will show you some samples of job to be able to introduce yourself. Okay. So, different job again. As you can tell, there is masculine and feminine. Okay. So, je suis artiste, meaning I am an artist. Je suis vendeur ou vendeuse, meaning I am a retailer or a cashier too. Can be a vendeur, vendeuse. Okay. You can also notice maybe that the end of the word change depending if it's masculine or feminine. Okay. Donc je suis vendeur, vendeuse, ou je suis commercial, ou je suis commercial. As you can see, nothing changed with the E, okay? It's just when you write it, there is a difference. The E is meaning that's the feminine the feminine words. Okay. Je suis serveuse ou je suis serveur. Je suis étudiant ou je suis étudiante. Je suis infirmier ou je suis infirmière. Okay. Er is the sound e. Okay. So as you can imagine, well, commercial is someone that work in commerce, retailing, and everything. Serveur is a waiter or waitress. Étudiant is a student, and infirmier ou infirmière is a nurse. Okay. So again, je suis plus your job. Okay. So if we recap a little bit about our previous character, Kevin, is Italian, and is a journalist. He can say to introduce himself, je m'appelle Kevin, je suis italien et je suis journaliste. Okay? But with this one, that will be up to you to help him introduce himself. Okay? So, John is French and is also a journalist. So, what's the good way to say my name is? I will let you a bit think a bit about that. What's the good way of saying I am French? Again, I will let you a few seconds to think about that. And lastly, I am a journalist. What would be the French way to say that? Yeah, that would be je m'appelle John. Je suis français. Je suis journaliste. Okay? Okay, so now that you know how to introduce yourself, try to do it for you. Maybe you can write a comment or write a little comment in the chat for me to respond to you. Okay? You can introduce yourself. Quel est ton prénom? Quelle est ta nationalité? Et quelle est ta profession? Okay? I will let you write in the chat. Okay. Now we have a different context. Okay? What will be this context? It's at work, au travail. It's a professional or formal context. Now, if you want to introduce yourself or ask someone to introduce yourself, do you ask, bonjour, comment tu t'appelles? Well, is that correct, do you think? I will let you think a bit about that. No, it is not. Why it is not correct? Because tu, it's informal in French. When vous is formal. Okay? So, comment tu t'appelles? is when you ask someone you know. Oh, you don't know him because you just met that person, but it's a friend of a friend, or it's a new colleague, but it's an informal context. Okay. When you're in a more formal, when you don't know someone, usually French people we use vous. Okay. In English, there is no equivalent of vous, le vouvoiement. But in France, for French people, it's something very, very usual, okay, to use vous. When you meet someone new, um, that you don't feel there is like a French connection, a friend connection, sorry, or when you met someone more older than you, or someone that you meet maybe at work but in a more formal context, you will use vous. Okay. So, the question will be bonjour, comment vous vous appelez? Okay. You can hear vous. Bonjour, comment vous vous appelez? Or bonjour, quel est votre nom? Okay, what's your name? But your is the formal your. Vous, votre. Okay. Another way to again avoid a question of bonjour, comment tu t'appelles? Or bonjour, comment vous vous appelez? Usually at work, people again will introduce themselves first, and they will expect you to introduce yourself too. Let's say you shake the other person hand and you say bonjour, Monsieur Dupont, meaning I am Monsieur Dupont, and the other person will say Madame Durand, ravi de vous rencontrer. Okay, it's nice to meet you. But in a slightly more formal way than enchanté. Okay? Ravi de vous rencontrer. Again, you have vous. Okay? Ravi de vous rencontrer. So it's formal. Okay? Okay. Now, let's say you want to introduce your job. You want to introduce yourself a bit more and talk about what you're doing. Is that correct? If I say je suis secrétaire et toi? Je suis comptable. I am a secretary. What about you? I'm an accountant. Okay. Is that correct to say et toi? Well, it's not correct. Why? Je m'appelle Benjamin, je suis mexicain et je suis un artiste. Very, very good. Very good one. Okay. Great. So, what's wrong with that sentence? Et toi? Well, again, it's informal and we are in a formal context, okay? So, et toi is when you know the person, or you know the person but you don't know the person, but it's like a friend of a friend. It's an informal context. Et vous is more formal, okay? So, If you want to ask the question in a formal context, you will be like, Je suis secrétaire. Et vous? Je suis comptable. Okay? Let's have a little test now. So, you're gonna complete the sentence and help that person to introduce herself. So, as you can tell, they're in a sofa. The first person, the other girl asks, Salut, comment tu t'appelles? As you can see, she using tu, okay, which is very important. If the other person use tu, that means you can use tu, okay. If the other person use vous, that means you have to use vous, okay. So, salut, comment tu t'appelles? You're gonna respond. What are you gonna respond? I will let you a bit of some 10 seconds. Je m'appelle Céline. Okay, Céline is just an example. Et toi? Okay. My name is Céline. And you? But as you can see, there she's using an informal speech. Okay. Salut, comment tu t'appelles? Je m'appelle Céline. Et toi? Okay. Bienvenue, Archie. I hope I pronounce it well, Archie. So that's for introducing your name. She answered back, Je m'appelle Morgane. Enchantée. Tu viens d'où? If you remember, tu viens d'où mean where do you come from? Okay. What will Céline answer? So as you can tell, she's English. Okay, she come from England. She's English. What's the verb that is missing? I will let you think about that for a few seconds. What's missing? Well, it's je suis. Okay? Je suis anglaise. So for your nationality. Now we have another context. It's more it's a job interview. Okay? So you are in a job interview, the recruiter will ask, Bonjour, je m'appelle Linda. Mm-hmm. Je m'appelle Camilla. Ravie de vous rencontrer. Now, what do you think she's asking? Okay. She's asking for her name, so she's either asking et toi or et vous. What do you think she's gonna ask? Notice that we are more in a formal context. Yeah. Et vous? Okay. Je m'appelle Linda. Et vous? Je m'appelle Camilla. Ravie de vous rencontrer. Okay. So, to sum it up a little, we have seen two different contexts, informal and formal. Okay. We have different questions that we can ask in the different contexts, but one way to answer. For Informal, when you ask for someone's name, you're gonna say, comment tu t'appelles? Okay. If it's in a formal way, comment vous vous appelez? Okay, you can hear vous and no tu. Or, quel est votre nom? It's another way to ask in a formal way your name. And you can answer, je m'appelle blah blah blah. Okay. Now for nationality in an informal context. Quelle est ta nationalité? Okay. Ta is informal. Or d'où tu viens? Meaning when you come, where do you come from, or what's your nationality? Now in a formal context, quelle est votre nationalité? Or d'où vous venez? Okay. Votre and vous. You can answer, je suis blah blah blah. Je suis américaine, je suis japonaise, chinoise. Okay. Now, to ask for someone's job, you can also ask in an informal context. Quelle est ta profession? Or the more usual way, tu fais quoi dans la vie? What do you do in life? Or what's your profession? In a formal, quelle est votre profession? Okay, votre profession. And you can answer, je suis blah blah blah. Okay, je suis serveuse, je suis commerciale, etc., etc. Okay. So now you know how to introduce yourself. Okay. Je m'appelle, je m'appelle Joanna, je suis française et je suis professeure de français. Okay, my name is Joanna, I'm French and I'm a French teacher. How can you introduce yourself? I will let you comment either in the chat or later in the comment, and I could respond you. And so yeah, I hope you like it. I hope now you know how to give some basic information about yourself, your nationality, your name, and your job. Next time, we're gonna get a bit deeper about nationalities and how that work, masculine and feminine. Okay. I hope you like it. I hope we can meet next Wednesday at either 9 a.m. Pacific time or 5 p.m. Central European time, or at 12 a.m. Standard China time. Okay. Well, you can subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss any live, or also go to visit joinpolyglot.com /French if you want a little bit more resources to learn French. There is a lot of resources, as I say before: books, podcasts, video, a lot of things. And yeah, see you next Wednesday. Bye.